Sup traders, it's the week 29th of September. We got NFP on Friday, the 3rd of October. Let's see what market has done today. Just a quick review. So we pulled back into this range after taking out this sell side liquidity last week on euro dollar. Since the FOMC candle, I was bearish. I was expecting price to find bearish momentum last week. It did. It came into the sell side liquidity, and after that, I don't really have any bias of price either pushing up or lower. So going into today, this week, I don't really have much bias except for wanting to trade at certain locations. So this fair value gap price came into the second daily time fair value gap, which also happens to be at a 618 level of this range on the daily time frame, which also happens to be at this buy side liquidity on the 240 time frame. Ideally, I want to see price push up one more time, potentially into the 50% of that level tomorrow with some accumulation and a channel on the lower time frames, and that will be a much better trade for me to go short. But we did react off that level immediately, especially because on the 240 time frame we had this accumulation. On the 1 hour time frame it would be a bigger accumulation, and then immediate push up with this bullish engulfing candle at 5 a.m. This is how price looked going into today. I was expecting price to come up to this high, but because it's Monday, I don't really want to be trading. So yeah, on the 240 time frame, price pulled back into this fair value gap on the 1 a.m. candle, held that low, which also happens to be right in the 60-minute fair value gap. To be honest, to me, I'm not sure what price is going to do, because it could easily, push lower. So for me, I would much rather wait for further information. We had this bullish engulfing candle, and that after, these inside bar candles, after this low wick candle, and that was something that did suggest that we could push higher, and this happened during the New York session. And then we had this market structure shift and then a pullback, and then, you could have traded that, but to me, that's not a good trade. I'll much rather just wait until I have more information on what to do. We've been pushing lower since then. I'm not sure where that will come down to. I have no idea. Ideally, I want price to continue higher up again tomorrow, and then from there we can see what price is going to do. So we are forming this channel on the 1 hour time frame. We've got this RSI divergence. Right, ideally, I want to see price push up into those highs. Probably during London session, we might get some pullback, and that would be a good trade to go short. Pound dollar, similar level. It didn't take out that high on pound dollar, which was interesting because euro dollar, I was predicting price to come up to the high. We had this bullish engulfing candle, then price pulled back, took out that low. Now I do expect price to, look at it, it's failing to push lower. Right, it closed below this, then it looked like it was going to come back down. It didn't. Put in this bearish candles, failed, and then bullish engulfing candle, which suggests to me that price wants to push up to this high. When is it going to do that? Well, it's not going to take a whole week to do that if it's going to go up there, right? It will go up there by tomorrow if it is going to go to that level, because it's not exactly that high of a level. Unless it starts to pull back deeper into this low, then that's something else. Interesting on pound dollar was this bullish fair value gap that price had left on, last week or on Sunday. We held this fair value gap right here, displaced up with this strong bullish engulfing candle, pushed up again, left on the fair value gap, and then this bearish pin bar looking candle was a good area for price to pull down into the fair value gap and find some kind of a support. And it came into that level with this, what do I say, accumulation, and then final manipulation, and that would have been a pretty good trade to go long, especially after seeing those two accumulations. I would have, up to these highs, I wouldn't even target up those highs because it's Monday and I'm not really interested in extended targets. You could put targets 1 here and then targets 2 there, still 17 pips. We might see a flag pattern tomorrow, right? We might actually come down, and that would be a pretty decent trade, I would say, if price pulls back down one more time, because I'm expecting price to come up to this high. And in during London session, if you get this flag pattern, then that'll be a good opportunity to go long. I do think if it comes down during London, it might range slightly until New York. So ideally, I want to give myself enough breathing room so that if it does come lower, I don't feel anxious and take out my trade early. So yeah, if I do want to trade that, I need to make sure that my stops is at a reasonable level and I've not risked more than 1% on that trade. Cool, let's see tomorrow. Sub traders, it's Wednesday, 1st of October. We got NFP coming out on Friday in 2 days, and let's see how the market has moved so far this week. Monday, I was talking about price coming up to rejecting this level and pushing down, and as you can see, Tuesday we pushed back up above this high, try to hold the fair value gap, the start of the daily time frame fair value gap. Let's look at it on the daily time frame. Looked like it was going to continue lower, but today, Wednesday, price pushed up and cleared the rest of the daily time frame fair value gap and found quite a strong resistance. So let's dive into what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is how Monday closed after this bullish run, this market structure shift, these liquidity grabs, I say, priced, accumulated, pushed lower, manipulated, right? And then from here onwards, we've got London session opening up. There was essentially no pullback going on for me to look for a trade, because I was watching for price to pull back into this range, but because we'd already taken out this high one more time and also a potential channel forming, my mindset now was that we could potentially see a bearish move, but I wanted further confirmation. So Tuesday, I just watched the market. I didn't want to go long because it's not an area I want to go long, because we've just rejected this swing high on the 240 below daily time fair value gap. You could easily just find resistance and continue to drop lower. I didn't want to go short either, because I don't know the order flow. The order flow seems kind of bullish at the moment to me. It pulls back into this range, puts in these candles. Honestly, that there's no way I'm trading any of that. And then finally we come up and we take out this high towards the end of the day yesterday. That has not rejected it yet, so it does look like, you know, we could pull back again. This market structure shift, maybe a pullback and then push up, which is what happens today. There you go, comes into that daily time frame fair value gap 50%. This all happened during an Asian session, and then comes and taps into that daily time frame fair value gap 50%, which is normally where I would short before, because we've just formed a channel, right? We have just formed a channel, and 1 hour time frame is clearer. We had formed that channel with this bearish pin bar going on. And yeah, with that 15-minute, just a small pullback, essentially an accumulation going on, I would have traded that around there. However, on the 15-minute, on the 1 hour time frame, firstly, we had this candle, this bearish pin bar, which was immediately followed by a liquidity grab of that low, a potential entry for some, and a push up with this bullish engulfing candle. And to me, that's a very good sign that we might see some kind of a reversal after this, or some kind of a resistance around that area. Especially the next candle could potentially be a bearish engulfing candle or a series of bearish candles. So on the 15-minute, I waited. So we had this, you know, normally I would be aggressively trading at this 50% daily time frame fair value gap, 50%, and then have my stop somewhere above the daily time frame fair value gap, which meant that I was always in a bit of a panic, because I was still expecting price to clear the rest of the daily time frame fair value gap, and price came up to that fair value gap, cleared the rest of it, put in another smaller channel. To me, right, if you look at this would be a smaller channel on the lower time frame, and that is much better entry because it forms a smaller channel within a bigger 60-minute channel. And to me, after seeing that candle and that hold, I shorted there with stops above the height of this 240 fair value gaps 50%. To me, that's a comfortable level, and if price is going to hit that and take me out, then that's fine. I'm happy to take that 1% risk, and I followed all of my principles, which is the key factor, the key win here for me, which is 1% risk. Had a stop loss and entered. Well, normally it would be on a pullback, but this isn't a trend trade, this is counter. I waited until I saw accumulation again on the 1 hour and the 15-minute, so that gave me a lot more confidence to hold that trade. And then the next candle just dropped, and the candle after that, again, I exited somewhere around here, because on the 5-minute time frame, because we rejected this low, sometimes, you know, price could easily find support around here and then push up and then take out this high and then come back down, and I'm not risking that. I'm not, when I can't be watching the charts all day. On the 5-minute, right, put in that low, held with this pin bar, put in this bullish candle, but I was okay to hold that and take the next target at this low of this pin bar. And then I took my targets there at 1.6R. Price continues to drop lower, pulls back, and then holds this. This is essentially a market structure shift, pulls back and then holds. I would be quite hesitant on holding that trade, because on pound dollar, on the exact same thing going on, which was today, you had a market structure shift, right? London session right there, we had a market structure shift. Price pushes up to take out liquidity and then drops lower, and then just shoots up instead of what it does on euro dollar. So this is a lot of divergence going on, and then we get that market structure shift here with a pullback, and that probably would have been a good trade on pound dollar, but I'm more focused on euro dollar. Price comes out down, market structure shift, drops lower. Again, New York session, I do think this is a better entry on the 1 hour time frame. To me, it's already taken out liquidity off this low, so I'm not interested anymore. Easily could push up. I don't know the order flow. To me, I'm just trading off a point of interest, and to me, a very strong point of interest was this high, and price held that high for a while, tried to push above it, failed, and then boom, the one above it is a much more stronger point of interest for price to find some kind of a resistance at. And then, yeah, came down, took out this low, pulled back again, held that 50%. I think the hold off that 50% would have given me a bit more confidence, because that hold off that 50% doesn't just hold a 50%, it also holds this swing high right here. And that to me is a much better entry. Again, I wasn't trading at this time. I didn't have the time, nor was I even looking at the charts, because I couldn't look at the charts at that time. So yeah, and then price pushed down. Again, now it looks like it's just ranging until FOM NFP on Friday. Maybe I have no prediction at the moment, so there's nothing I can do. And it's a good thing, because I've just taken the win. Let me just reflect on that win rather than trying to lose it all back immediately, or even not lose it back. Just reflect on the win, and just watch the market, see what it does tomorrow before NFP, and see how NFP plays out. It'll be on Friday. I'll be probably itching to trade a little bit because it's post NFP, and honestly, I would just watch the market if I can, because I don't really have any bias at the moment. Pound dollar, however, I am expecting price to come up to this high. Ideally, this bearish fair value gap up here would be a very good location to short, especially if price comes up there with some kind of accumulation like the one we saw in Eurodollar, with a channel with further accumulation towards the tip of the channel, especially during early London session, because you can see you get pullbacks in London session. So one thing I have noticed is, like I was saying with Eurodollar, is when in a bullish order flow, so this is a bullish order flow, right? I was expecting price to come into this drawn liquidity. Let's just call this the drawn liquidity, and we're putting this bullish engulfing candle just before it. I'm expecting price to just, that after that candle, you expect price to just boom, shoot up. However, I've noticed quite a few times, especially post CPI, on Eurodollar, maybe it wasn't on pound dollar, I think it was Eurodollar, we had that bullish engulfing candle, and then we came back down to test that candle one more time. So right, like here, pushed up, boom, and then we pulled back, making it look like we're going to continue lower. Then we ranged, bullish engulfing candle, boom. And then yesterday we had this candle. I'm not sure what news came out yesterday for price to be doing that. This candle, jobs opening, maybe. Came down, took out that low, 9 a.m. candle. So 9 a.m. would have been, it would have been before the news come out. So 1:30 maybe, no, that's not, that's ECB. And then comes down, takes out this low one more time, and then pushes up. And then again, these lows are taken out before price pushed up. And good thing I didn't take a trade on pound dollar, because look at the way it shot up. Because the point of interest wasn't as interesting as Eurodollar to me, because look at it, it's still inside this range on this daily time frame, whereas Eurodollar was actually inside the range as well. All right, interesting. What made me want to look at the Eurodollar more than pound dollar is the question. It's the 1 hour time frame channel. Yep, it's a channel at a 240 structure, 240 sell side, buy side liquidity. Got to respect the channel, because that played out in my favor. Right, you had 1 point, 2nd point, 3rd point, and we had the channel here as well. However, to me, the channel on the Eurodollar was a lot more. Yeah, we had this, and then we had this on Eurodollar, this accumulation, and then after that we pushed up, right? Instead of here, we do the other way around. Yeah, I wouldn't want to trade this. I wouldn't want to go short on this, because look at it, this, and then we had another one like that, then it would have been a good place to go short. So yeah, let's see what tomorrow and Friday does. Sup traders, it's 5th of October, Monday. Let's do a review of the previous week and also the previous month. So this is what the month candle closed like on Eurodollar. We had this SMT last month, and then price rejected this, quite a strong point of interest, a swing high below this fair value gap, and held with this essentially a high wick candle. Going into October, I don't really have a bias. I'm predicting price is going to continue higher up slightly before it potentially finds more resistance somewhere, because we have been in this strong bullish order flow. We took out this low here previously, this order block, and then pushed up. I thought it was there for an NFP last week. However, it turns out it wasn't. Because I wasn't trading last week, Thursday and Friday. I wasn't even looking at the markets properly, and I was wondering why at half one price didn't really move significantly. And then, well, it turns out FOMC or NFP is this Friday, so maybe it was changed from last week, I'm not sure. Let's see. So let's see how the week closed on euro dollar. So last week, previous week, yesterday, last week it closed with this inside bar bullish candle. And right now, honestly, if price comes down below this lower previous week's candle, then I'm going to expect price to find some resistance and push up. But I don't actually think it's going to come down to that level. The week before that was a bearish engulfing candle. And because of that, I was kind of watching for reasons or price coming into a point of interest to short with specific pattern, although I wasn't 100% sure on the bearish order flow last week. It's the fact that we had this bearish candle was one of the main reasons I was more confident in taking that short on Wednesday. So this week, going into next week, or this week, it closed with a bullish inside buy candle. Daily time frame, we pulled back. After this is where I took the trade on Wednesday. We rejected this, this daily time frame fair value gap, but because we had taken this sell side liquidity down here previously, for me, price could potentially continue higher up. It doesn't have to find resistance here, but because there were patterns on the lower time frame and the timing of the patterns, I was a lot more confident in taking that short on Wednesday. Then we rejected that, pulled lower into this daily time frame open. This is where that open gap was, and then put in a bullish candle on Friday on non-NFP day. So if I knew that wasn't an NFP day, then I might have looked for trades. However, I didn't have the time on Friday, nor was I even trading for the rest of the week. So I guess it worked out in my favor in a way. I am bullish going into next week, mainly because, like I said, we rejected this sell side liquidity. We pulled back into this daily time frame open gap. We also, this daily time frame fair value gap, or what is now an inverse fair value gap, price pushed up into this high all the way up to here, pulled back, left this low wick bearish candle, and now it's closed above this fair value gap again. I know it hasn't closed above the wicks, however, to me now it's closed above this, and it could potentially pull back and then continue higher up, and then maybe again find resistance. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to play it by how price approaches certain point of interest during the week, because order flow, although to me it seems bullish, anything can happen. I'd much rather trade at a certain point of interest and with certain price actions during the week. And also it's this candle that gives me a bit more confidence in my bullish order flow bias. We came down to this low and grabbed liquidity off that low at the daily open, and also that what now is an inverse fair value gap. Left this really low liquidity candle that grabbed as much liquidity as it could before finding its way back to the top, or finding its way higher up. And then prices ranged here, putting this bullish engulfing liquidity candle on Friday, 1 a.m. I'm guessing London session, pushed up right from here, and then market structure shift, pushed up, pulled back down again, another pulled into this fair value gap, bullish engulfing candle, and then ranged, pushed up all the way to this high. And this wasn't even during, well, there was no NFP. This would have been during, there was some kind of news out at that time. PMI, ISM services, PMI news, and then found resistance there. So yeah, we grabbed again on the 1 hour time frame, right? We came down, grabbed liquidity of this low, and then pushed up, grabbed liquidity of this high, and then pulled back again. Right now, it does seem like we could find some resistance here, but to me, I would like to see price pull lower before going higher, and I would much rather wait for that until midweek. I don't really want to be trading Monday with NFP on Friday. I don't really want to be taking trades closer to Fridays, Thursday or Friday anyway, because ideally I don't want to be trading before NFP unless it's Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, normally this is one of the things that I noticed. All right, we came into this daily time from fair value gap. We put in this strong market structure shift right here. I know this on the 240 is a liquidity grab because it's obvious in hindsight. However, on the 60-minute time frame, that right there would have been seen as a market structure shift and potentially entered on the 618 pullback. But to me, like I said, trading up here, I feel a lot more confident because I wasn't sure about the order flow. Trading down here, market has moved way too much already for me to for it to confirm my bearish order flow bias. Now to me it's moved too much, and especially seeing the 240 candle afterwards, honestly, it was a very good sign that to me it would just not going to continue lower. And because I wasn't really trading on Thursday or Friday, I wasn't really interested in going short, and prices come up to this high, pull back somewhere into this range and push back up potentially, or it's just going to range here and then push back up. We'll see how it plays out. Let's just wait now. Let's see what Monday does. Let's watch Monday's hands. I'm not really interested in trading tomorrow. Maybe this swing high, if price comes into it with some kind of a channel again on the lower time frame, because we have had this nice accumulation going on here. Price comes up to these highs with some channel, then I do think that would be a good area to short, just a short-term counter trade. I'm not expecting price to continue higher, continue all the way back down to this range. So that will be a good play on euro dollar next week. Pound dollar. After this SMT, price put in this bearish engulfing candle, liquidity candle. I was bearish the week after that. We came into a level where I was expecting price to find some kind of support, found support, and then put in a bullish engulfing candle last week. What am I expecting from this now? I'm honestly, similar to euro dollar, it does look like we found quite a strong support here, pushed up, and I'm expecting pound dollar to come up to this level right here, which this swing high right here. I pushed up quite strongly and sharply, put in this order block on Thursday, this pullback, which pulled back into this inverse fair value gap, cleared the rest of that inverse fair value gap, and then found some support with this bullish candle. So with pound dollar, I'm a bit more bullish on the lower time frame than I am on euro dollar, right? Especially this liquidity candle, low wick liquidity candle that took out liquidity off all of this low, and then range, and then pushed up. Yeah, this could potentially just push up into a new high. Look at that liquidity grab there, push up, market structure shift. We had this liquidity grab off this swing high, which suggests to me that we are gonna potentially see a deeper pullback, or price, if it's not a deeper pullback, it will be more of a, we'll see a lot of accumulations going on. And to be honest, even if it does come down to this swing low, or even swing low to this daily time frame inverse fair value gap, I do believe there's still opportunity to go long here, at least up until this high, this drawn liquidity up here. Or if price is going to find resistance, then let's just take a target here or here. We don't have to aim for a high like that, especially if you're trading from a pullback, especially if it's a pullback. If you expect price to come down to this low to grab liquidity one more time, stops can be below there, target can easily be up there, and you can adjust this based on where price could potentially come to. If it just comes into there and you still want to put your stops, or if I still want to put my stops there, then that's still a very good area for stops to be at. And that target is also a very good target to take, which is a 1.21 target. If I want to aim for those highs, that's almost a 2R, 1.9R target. So yeah, I'm expecting a pullback. Maybe this swing low will get taken out, price will push up, then we'll come back down one more time inside this range, right? This range right here, from this high right here to this low. This is the range that price is currently playing at. If we come down and take our liquidity off this low, then we could find some support and push up. So, and if it doesn't, then we could potentially just find support inside that range and push up. So either way, I am long going into this, and I do think this will come tomorrow, later tomorrow, or beginning of Tuesday, or Asian session afterwards. So let's see how market plays out next week. Just aware of that NFP on Friday, and not to take trades on Thursday or Friday. This is one of the key lessons that I've learned, right, where we're forming a bullish order flow and price doesn't just shoot up, it starts to accumulate towards the top, takes out the swing high, or it just fails to continue higher, then it's most likely that we'll see a pullback, and on the way to the pullback, it won't just pull back straight and then into a 618 and find support, which is what has been happening recently anyway. It will pull up, down, take out liquidity, push up, down, take out liquidity. It's almost like there's 3 liquidity grabs along the way before price can find the support that it needs before it pushes up, or it's just generating or accumulating liquidity, taking out stop losses along the way before it pushes up. So that's one of the main reasons I'm not expecting price to just boom, pull back and then boom, shoot up. I want to see some steps being made along the way, and so yeah, I'll just wait for that tomorrow. If that does happen, then potentially a trade. If not, then that's fine.